Hello and welcome to Racers Now. We're back with another anti-post preview and we're looking forward to the fast approaching first Grade 1 of the British Jumps racing season, the Betfair Chase at Haydock on Saturday, November the 25th, just a couple of weeks away. A day circled in many a National Hunt fan's calendar and a real big event feel on the day, to be fair. I'm going to get some negatives out the way first. I've got two problems with the Betfair Chase, and I don't have a solution or explanation for either of them. Number one, generally speaking, the top Irish horses simply don't come over for this race. The Betfair Chase has only been going about, it's less than 20 years old, and there's a Grade 1 at Down Royal on Saturday, the 11th of November, which is 2 weeks before. We're going to touch on that a bit later, so maybe it doesn't fit in with the Irish calendar. We know that the Irish come over and dominate at Cheltenham, everything from the handicaps to the Grade 1. So it is a bit of a negative that not many Irish horses turn up to the Betfair Chase, and particularly their top ones. I mean, for example, Gallopin de Champs, who won last season's Cheltenham Gold Cup, hasn't even been mentioned for the Betfair Chase at all at any stage. So that's a shame. And number two, the second problem with the Betfair Chase, and it's no one's fault that the winner of the Betfair Chase hasn't gone on to win at the Cheltenham Festival 4 months later since the 2006-2007 season, and that was the mighty Corto Star. That might just be pure bad luck. Um, but we've had winners like Q Card, who's won this Betfair Chase multiple times, never really did it at Cheltenham. Maybe he was unlucky falling a couple of times. Bristol de Mays won this race 3 times, and on 2 of those occasions didn't even run at Cheltenham the same season. You could say the same about other horses as well. To be fair, Silvignaco Conti, another one that just can't cut it at Haydock and Cheltenham. It's no one's fault. It's just an oddity of how things go, and they are obviously quite different tracks, but similar distances for sure. The usual steps for staying chasers in the UK would be the Betfair Chase at Haydock, the King George on Boxing Day at Kempton, and then the Gold Cup itself, obviously, in March. Anyway, it looks like we're going to have a pretty good renewal on our hands with all the best British horses entered at this stage, although one of them particularly might not run. We're going to touch on him as well. There's 5 Irish horses entered at this stage. We'll just get the runners and riders up there. There's 15 entries at this stage. There's 5 of them are from Ireland, but 4 of them are entered in that Down Royal Grade 1 this Saturday. So I think as such you can probably scrub off Jerry Colomb, Minella Endo, Conflated and Envoy Alan, who are all going to be running in that Down Royal Chase on Saturday, the 11th of November. It's unlikely that they're going to be running at Haydock. And just 2 weeks later, and the 5th Irish entry at this stage out of the 15 is 2021 winner A Plutar, who was pulled up at 1-2 in last year's renewal of the Betfair Chase. And reports from A Plutar's trainer today, Henry de Bromed, and I quote, odds against to run at Haydock. So that's 5 that we've already scrubbed off. As you can see, that's the top of the market there. So onto the horses that will be running, or hopefully be running. Protectorat's top of the market there, anything from even money to 11 to 8. Currently, last year's winner by 11 lengths, but we already know, and I've already alluded to, last year's race fell to bits. The 1-2 favourite, A Plutar, was pulled up before they even got to the home straight. Never really looked right, to be honest. So Protectorat kind of fell in. He was 15-2 second favourite that day, so that shows the gap between the favourite 1-2 and the second favourite 15-2. A big gap was expected in the market, but you can only beat what is left in front of you in Protectorat's case. But that horse didn't do a lot last season after winning the Betfair Chase. He went off 25-1 for the Gold Cup in March. That tells you all you need to know, really, and alludes back to the point I make about A, the Irish horses not turning up here, and B, not a great record of winning at both Haydock and Cheltenham, and Protectorat is an example of that. Shishkin is next in the market. Definitely the most, I would say, probably the most exciting horse in this race, just because he's been somewhat of an enigma, really. A good quality one at that, though. A 2-time champion festival winner, this Shishkin. The Arkle for novice chasers, the Supreme Novices Hurdle before that. But he was pulled up quickly in the champion chase back at Cheltenham 18 months ago. But he has looked a revelation since that day. I mean, there was all sorts wrong with him that day. I don't know if they ever got the bottom of it. But he went off 5-6 favourite for that champion chase in 2022. Pulled up pretty quickly, never looked right. But he has been a revelation since Upton Trip by Connections. Nicky Henderson, the trainer. He's won 2 grade 1s over longer trips. One of them at Aintree on his most recent outing. He just looks ideal for this, Shishkin. This is slightly up in trip again, only very slightly, half a furlong further than he's ever run before. But the bottomless ground currently at Haydock, the weather has been awful in recent weeks, as we know, might not be ideal for Shishkin, but he is in there, and his price at the moment ranges from 5-2 to 9-2, so quite a big disparity in the market there. Long Press is next in the market, possibly the most unexposed in open company over staying chasing, and could well have won the King George last Christmas if he didn't come down at the last. That was against Brave Man's Game. Going really well there, pecked on the last and came down. Unfortunate. Venetia Williams' star chaser hasn't been seen since then. That was 334 days ago. That might be a problem in what looks sure to be testing ground and a decent pace around Haydock with plenty of runners in there at the moment. So keep an eye on Long Press. That leads us to next in the market. Brave Man's Game is around 8-1, as short as 3-1. But the reason for that 8-1 and the 3s, to be fair, is that he's unlikely to run. Let's put it that way. But of those we've touched on so far, Brave Man's Game has got the best form in the book, you could argue. Second in the Cheltenham Gold Cup, third in the Punchestown equivalent in March and April. But that 8-1 on screen is mainly based on the fact that he probably won't run. Connections have left the door slightly open, but they are on record saying that he doesn't want extreme ground, and a defence of his King George title on Boxing Day is the plan. If they're going to go straight there, looks like the plan, rather than Haydock. But the key is he is still entered at this stage and may well come out at the 5-day stage, for example. That's the risk of anti-post betting, and if Brave Man's Game does run, he certainly will not be 8-1 on the day. That is for sure. There wasn't a lot wrong with what Brave Man's Game did at Wetherby, in my opinion. That was a Grade 2 Charlie Hall chase on the 4th of November. Travelled by far the best in a small field race, maybe not the deepest of races. A mistake at the last, and then the tank emptied thereafter. So that's Brave Man's Game for you. Royal Pagaille, who's at the bottom of the screen there, has ran in plenty of Grade 1s in his time, but hasn't got close to winning one, in all honesty. There's two big positives, though, for Royal Pagaille. The softer, the better. He absolutely loves it bottomless, and he loves Haydock. 4 visits to Haydock for Royal Pagaille in his career, with form figures of 1, 1, 2, 1. The second in that sequence came in the 2021 Betfair chase itself, second behind the Plutar. So loves Haydock, loves bottomless ground. Grand National winner, Korak Rambler, is actually not on the screen there, but he's around 20-1, maybe 14s in places. He is an intended runner, so there has been a bit of blue about on Ozcheck of Korak Rambler in the last 24 hours. Ran a long way below par in a handicap at Kelso last month. That was his first start since winning the Grand National at Aintree in April. He was the first beaten in a 6-runner handicap at Kelso and drifted markedly in the market on the day. The signs weren't great. I have no idea what to make of that performance or the campaign that Korak Rambler may or may not have this season, but he's going from a handicap now into a Grade 1 and a proper Grade 1 at that. I just don't know what to make of it. All roads for Korak Rambler surely lead to Aintree in April 2024 with a defence of that Grand National title certainly on his agenda. So who would I back now? Probably Royal Pagaille is the one for me, around 14-1. This race will cut up. There's 15 in there at the minute. We've written off 5 Irish horses, so we're already down to 10. It's 8 years since we had 8 or more runners turn up on the day in this race. So you can get current betting at a fifth, 3 places. I don't think you'll get that on the day. I think we're going to be down to 7 or less runners, so you'll be playing for 2 places. I think Royal Pagaille, I've got nothing on record at the moment of him being an intended runner, but he is entered. He has run into before. He's got a fantastic record at Haydock, so I see no reason why he won't run. He is yet to do it at the top level, as I have alluded to, but I'm not sure Protectorat is that much of a top level horse anyway. Yes, he's won this Grade 1 last year, but done very little since. Shishkin is the main danger for me, but I do like Royal Pagaille each way. Goes well fresh, loves Haydock, and the bad ground that's forecast is absolutely no problem for him. So I'll be back in Royal Pagaille at 14-1. Let me know in the comments who you'll be back in, and we're certainly looking forward to the 2023 Betfair Chase.